Welcome to the Justin Masterson Show. I don't know if I like that one. I keep thinking about, have something said. This is the Justin Masterson Show. And then it.
One straight strike. Downswing, and that's 8 Ks for Masterson. He's Iron Mike right now. He has struck out. He is now retired 7.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Justin Masterson Show. It's a wonderful day here. But of course, it's not just me. I got my guy, Mr. Matthew Zappasodi.
What's up, party people?
Welcome back, my friend.
Thanks. Yeah.
Did you have a good break?
Yeah, it was a fall break, and we went on a little hiking camping.
Oh, nice.
It was good. We're here in Indiana for all you people who don't know. So we don't have a lot of texture in the northern half of the state, but out west and south, we got some nice hiking and camping. So it was good. Perfect weather. I mean, we've been dry, but it's been perfect fall.
Yeah, that's great. No, we have been dry. But something hasn't been dry.
Uh-oh. I might know what you're about to say. This is
well, I just showed you the video, so we're gonna act like right now that people were showing you the video. And
all right, let me see it.
This is Meryl Masterson here. I'm just filming for the It's All Part of It moment. So today, Justin came to get the boat out of the water and it's submerged in the water. So after a quick run to Ace, we got a pump and a hose and we are pumping out gallons of water. And then we're gonna pray that nothing's ruined and the boat will start. If not, well, here's the little setup he has going. Hopefully this pumps out all the water sometime today. But there's my kayak if we need to tow the boat. So that's what we're dealing with. It's a beautiful day though. It could be way worse. It could be pouring and like really cold. So I love this guy.
Last week's host or guest, I should say, Mr. TC Baker, he was around to help me get the water out.
Yeah.
And he did the hard work. I had to go leave, and he continued.
He's a good friend.
He is. Continued to get it siphoned out. And the hope was, all right, you get it out, and we're done. And we got that puppy dry. And he's like, I walked away, came back maybe an hour later, and it was up around the engine again. So hope is get the water out, got a pump on it today, keep the water out, and then tow it 1.5 miles to get it to my trailer. Got, I think, one of my neighbors' boat's still in the water. He can maybe tow me up, and hopefully I don't get somewhere in between and the water just keeps coming in, and then I am done.
Well,
stuck. But then, I mean, it's not like it's going to hurt it anymore. Like, it's got, enough on it.
well, you know what they say. It's all part of it. Unfortunately, it's all part of it for you.
Yeah. It is. It's all part of it for me.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. That's the nature of, as our guy Doug said when I saw him last night at our meeting, Fight Club meeting. He's just like, well, as my wife and I say, first world problems. I said, yes. And as we say, Doug, it's all part of it, baby.
Oh, yeah. Doug want to come on the show?
I don't know. We probably should have Doug on the show sometime.
Yeah, it'd be nice. He's a fun guy.
He is a fun guy.
Not like fun guy, but he's a fun guy.
Yeah, he's a fun guy. Yeah, I think that'd probably be nice.
Yeah, that's good. Well,
we have some guests.
I had one happen. Let's see, today's Tuesday, Sunday. Whatever. I couldn't sleep the other night, so had you and my dad both have this like wake up syndrome, and I'm starting to get it. So wake up at 2:15. I'm just wide awake, like no going back to sleep. But I usually will just lay there and just rest, But something was bothering me, so I got up, go down, and there's a documentary I was watching earlier last weekend or something. I was like, oh, I'll just finish it. So I turned on TV, trying to finish this documentary at 3 a.m, trying to get tired. And I hear some noises in the backyard. I was like,
Uh-oh.
sounds like a child.
Ooh.
And then you're like, red alert, and then you're like, no, it's 3 a.m. There's no child out back. And so I mute the TV and I go over to the window, and there's something outside screaming for its life. And if I had the audio, I do have the audio, but it's like almost like don't really want to play it for our audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
A poor animal was suffering and dying from the talons of a what is it called? Great horned owl.
Ooh.
And this owl was just destroying a rabbit, a bunny.
Okay.
So for all those who don't know, we have bunnies in our house, but it was not one of our bunnies.
Okay, that's good. It wasn't one of yours.
Yeah. So first thing I did was make sure it wasn't a human, and then I made sure it wasn't one of our bunnies who escaped. But anyway, so I was telling the kids about it the next morning, and I said, yeah, something died last night, and it was pretty awful. And then there's this little like woohoo, woohoo, and you're just like, oh, okay, he got his dinner, and so his kids were like, oh my gosh, it's awful. I played the noise for him because I have a camera out there, so I could hear, but I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
And then last night we're out for a walk, and Olivia comes running, and she's like, Dad, I found the bunny.
Yeah.
Great horned owls don't take their prey; they just kill, eat what they want, and they leave it. And
Really?
And so there's a dead animal in our backyard, and it was sad for her to see and all that. But it's like, hey, the circle of life, man.
That's it.
It's just it is what it is.
Simyanama, simyanama, simyanama. The circle of life.
We can play that behind the track right here.
Yeah, unless it's like copyrighted.
Oh, I'm
then
sure it is.
It probably is. But
Yeah.
either way, put that right there. Man, that's crazy. I mean, that had to have been a little scary there for a little bit with those.
Yeah, it was odd because the animal that was dying literally sounded like a 3-year-old or 2-year-old.
Oh,
So you're like, what is that? And then you realize like it's not stopping, and it's now there's a woo. It's like, oh boy.
which is kind of what we had back in the day. Cuckoo, cuckoo.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Who was that for? Beckett? No. Was it Beckett?
Who was that?
Vandy?
I think it was Vandy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was with Vandy.
Oh, no. It was Hawk. It was Josh Hawk.
I probably started with how. Yeah, you're
Because he's the Hawk.
right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, the old Bethel baseball days.
Yeah.
What a time that was. So much fun. But
It's all part of it.
it is all part of it. We got animals dying. We got boats filled up. Just so much fun. But let's get into it. These episodes get so long. Who knows if people
Hey,
are
DC did a great job. Shout out.
Justin. Yeah.
Solid performer. There's, way to go, Todd. I mean, I'm honored to sit in your chair today.
He did better than I expected. I'll give you that much. Wasn't sure. I mean, I always enjoy talking to him. He's always got good words of wisdom. But I wasn't sure when you sit in the seat. I told him for one thing, it'd be better because we're now across from each other, so we're actually looking at each other.
Yeah.
Which I think is good for the conversational piece that comes in, instead of when we were next to each other, which had its purpose to get both of us in. But
Yeah.
Not as cool. So here we are.
Yep.
So we're working through these different laws that come in, and I might want to skip a few, 99, 100, but there are 48 of them potentially. Frank Viola's book, The 48 Laws of Spiritual Power. And we got no connection with Frank whatsoever. Actually, I was thinking about it when I was putting this together. I had reached out to his people at one point in time. Not for this.
Yeah, he was busy, right?
I was like, hey, maybe it's for the documentary that I'm piecing together.
Hmm.
Love your book, Insurgents, has been impactful. Uh, Probably going to talk about it in my documentary. Didn't know if you guys had anything, and they were like, the Minions responded.
Yeah, well, he's busy.
Yeah, and they're like, he doesn't have any time to
Hey.
talk. And of course, I'm reading into it because it was just an email. So I'm doing what, love you, babe. Doing what my wife does at times. When the texts come in, like create your own narrative in your head, even though it's just words. So it could be whatever you want. And I was just like, yeah, he's busy doing more important things, so he can't get back to you. Is pretty much what I.
Well, as being one of those minions in my life, I understand and appreciate where they're coming from. So it's all
Yeah, I'm not hating on the Minions. I It's just as the man would be like, hey, we're about to do some good things. But he did, and he finished his book that he was coming out with. The narrative of the new. I can't remember what that's called now, but I have it and reading
yeah.
through it, and it took him a lot of time and effort and a lot of research. But
Shout out to the Swank on our YouTube page. Little comment. So
oh yeah,
hi Swank.
yeah, he's coming in hot.
Yeah,
We appreciate that. At least somebody's joining the conversation.
that's right.
And Mama Adele,
Oh yeah, always.
she's in there giving some appreciation and some shout outs.
Oh yeah.
Which we love. And so for today, the law that we're getting into is, it says it takes one to make one.
It takes one to know one.
Takes one to make one.
Okay, takes one to make one. We're gonna have to expound on that. I like it.
Well, pretty much the idea is it takes one to make one, in that you can't give to people what you aren't yourself.
Hmm.
So in essence, I mean, it kind of sounds like what it is. Like, in order for you to go pretty much help somebody do this, you probably need to either instill it into your own life before you try and do that, or you've been there and you've done that. So you're able to then lead someone into that. Like if I was to go, hey, Matt, why don't you go do a podcast and try and get you information about it? But I've never done anything with a podcast or been around a podcast. Makes it kind of hard. But a
Mhm.
lot of people, they like to act as if they have more experience or have done some things or push people in a way, compared to being like, hey, man, I think you should do this. I've never done it before, but I hear that it's something pretty incredible. But I also look at it in when we're trying to like learn, grow, do something. So many people, instead of taking whatever they're learning and putting it into their life, they just take it and go, "Ooh, you would like this." And so there's nothing of like, let me just take it and sit in, let me understand it, let me see maybe goods and bads. They just straight like take and go to somebody else. So they don't even let it sit within themselves very often, which I think, I mean, I've had a tendency of doing that at times. And so it challenges me in that. But nobody wants to like do the work to transform themselves, or they transform others. They just go, "Oh, this is cool. I understand it. So you know what? You definitely need this. Like, you're struggling with that. So here's this for you. Oh, you stink at this. Here's this for you." And all the while, self-awareness is not the greatest, because, and it's interesting because I was trying to find this line uh, from the book for something else that I was doing, because I thought it was from John Maxwell. Turns out it's Frank who said it. I'm sure others have said it, but people will follow what you are more than what you say.
Mm. That's the whole thing. They're always watching you, and they're gonna pick up. What's that saying with the kids? They're gonna pick up more than you give them. Anyway,
Listening to your words, but like
Yeah.
your actions.
actions. Yeah, they're gonna do what you do, not what you say. There it is.
Mm.
They're gonna do what you do, not what you say. Yeah, totally.
Which there are countless people that I hear now that says, what will they say? Do as I say, not as I do.
Oh yeah, so they're trying to be a hypocrite.
I mean, more or less, yeah. Because they're like, we don't want you to actually do what I do.
I don't want to change, but I want you to do it right.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the common complacency we try to address in our men's group. You want to affect change in your family, in your kids, or in your home, then go do it.
Right. Because if you want people to do whatever, you must be that person.
Yeah.
Like you must be that type of person. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like I say this often, but I'm going to keep going on. But like when I substitute teach or coaching or doing whatever, and you know this in the coaching world too, it's like if you don't know the parents, you meet the kid, see how the kid acts, you meet the parents and you go, oh, I'm not surprised by how this happens, right?
Yeah. Now I understand better by seeing the parents' reactions.
Right. Like the two of us have spent so much time together over the years that there are certain things that we do that would remind people of the other person.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, I can tell you've been spending time with Matt or you've been spending time with Justin.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Which is funny because you probably calm me down in your chill atmosphere, but do I tune you up in my crazy personality?
Maybe in moments,
Yeah.
at certain times.
Yeah. You get, whenever I get fired up, you're like, yeah, Zap, let's go.
Right.
Fired up.
I think that's what it is. I think it's the right times. It's like, ooh, this is the right time. Yes, come on, bring it. So then I can egg it on a little bit more to allow that to take place.
Yeah, it takes one to make one, as I'm sure you're gonna, get into. But I'm thinking of this verse. I just looked it up. 1 Timothy 4:15. Practice these things, immerse yourself in them, so that all may see your progress. This is Paul writing to his protege Timothy. So, or Timothy wrote it down. I don't know how that worked, but
Yeah.
Paul's telling Timothy this. So he's basically saying, do action, do these things, immerse yourself in these things so that others may see your progress. So maturity might be a replaceable word there. They can see your growth.
Right. Well, and I think of it in all things. Like I'm trying to lead high schoolers through pitching, and I have a great pitching knowledge based off of what I've done. But I feel like there's also this ability to continue to learn and grow, to be able to lead or understand what they're talking about. Certain things that new philosophies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, the ones that I've encountered are just old philosophies that have been repackaged a little bit, or a slight bit of emphasis on a different aspect of it that I may, I don't know, agree or disagree with. But like those are the things that I kind of think about. Like we're always learning, always growing, always trying to piece something together. Because many of us, shoot, I mean, unless we have to, I don't think we want to.
Mm.
Like that's maybe in all things. I mean, we see it in Fight Club, whether it's physical, right? Do you see some of that?
Yeah,
with men quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a percentage of people that are self-motivated and regulate their desire for growth automatically, on their own. But most of the people I encounter, especially, is I've been something or someone showed me that I need to change, and so now I am forced to reckon this change. So if it's like my attitude or my drinking problem or my weight, or I literally am so weak I can't pick up my child, or I can't get out of the chair without getting out of breath. It depends on situation. Sometimes guys come, they're like, hey, my doctor told me I need to get in shape or I'm gonna die. It's like, well, that's good motivation,
Yeah, please.
But did you really need the doctor to tell you that? Well, okay, now that you know it though, you're motivated. And so they're depending on the motivation. But to your point, if you're not the first group of people that I mentioned, then yes, it's just easier to stay comfortable. It's easier to stay where you're at. And change is hard, but change is typically 90% on my random assertion of formula. Change is going to be for the better.
Yeah, change will be for the better. But you hit on, I think a lot of individuals then suffer from kind of guilt
Yeah.
and shame
Mm.
within that.
Oh,
So whether
totally.
the doctor says, well, you should, why'd you need the doctor? So, wow. Or I don't know who, so many different examples that could come in, but I think so many people suffer from the guilt and the shame. And so they don't step into it. They're not
Yeah.
able to talk like, Paul was to Timothy and have that confidence of just sit in this and you'll be okay. They'll be like, oh, I don't know. Like, maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't. I don't like if you do it and it doesn't work, then it's like my fault. So I don't necessarily want to recommend it because I'm not sure whether they've done it or not, because that guilt is I'm not doing enough,
Hmm.
and the shame is I am not enough.
Or what I tried to do didn't work.
Right.
Yeah, and so now I'm embarrassed. Or yeah, and shame is the complete non-starter. So we talk about like the non-starter, as in I felt like I couldn't succeed, so I never tried.
Mm, mm.
If you're gonna go up a mountain and you just you get really excited and you get out of the car and you start hiking, and it's a small mountain, it's doable, but you go 10 minutes and the dude you encounter, who I'm laughing at you because you used to do this, but the dude you encountered is like, hey, you're almost there. You're like, sweet. I don't know. I'm in woods. I can't see anything, so just keep going. But if that dude you encounter in 10 minutes is like out of breath and he's like, I just spent 8 hours, you better be ready. Like, this is tough. And he gives you like that. If you don't know what you don't know, you're like, cool, yeah, I'm out. And you just turn around.
Well, and that brings a good point because I'm thinking on that of like how many voices there are out there too.
Mm.
So I know like in a personal sense, we're talking about, okay, it takes one to like make one. So you trying to take ownership of it, but even in your pursuit for you to take it on, like there are so many different voices that come in and say different things because you could pass by the exact same hike that you're talking about. Could be, you just got me, and be like, "Hi, dude, almost there. Like, keep fighting." Compared to the other one who comes down, like maybe it's just 100 feet behind, and they see him just oiled over, breathing heavy, and it's like, "Oh, you okay, man, dude? This is crazy. Like, this is the craziest hike I've ever been on in my life. Like, good luck." Wh who do you trust? Who do you believe?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. Like, now you just had 2 different perspectives going in the same direction. You're the same spot roughly that you've been in. And so what do you trust? And I think that's, a tough little battle right there because how many people like we had this with Eden. I can't remember if I shared it on here, but my oldest, had gone to homecoming and, had her dress, had some straps on there, and, like, the next day, she had these, like, little red marks on her shoulders, and she comes down, she's like, "Dad, what are these?" And I go, "Well, that looks like when I've been lifting or something, just kind of those, break your skin marks." If you've had the bar on, like, I'll get those little marks in the back, and it looks like little red splotches here or there. So it's just like your dress straps, when you're dancing, probably pulled on there. And she's like, "Oh, okay." Like, why? What'd you think it was? Well, I read online it was some type of disease that I was pretty much going to die from. I said, you can't trust everything you said, because they're not, honestly, because they're not here
Yeah.
to even know the situation. So I don't know if it's tracking in your head, but it's tracking in my head right now. But if you like reverse engineer it, and say, I can't always trust the person's opinion who isn't in the situation or
Yeah.
haven't gone through it,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. And then so you mentioned like, why are we even going to the doctor? Why are we at that point? And it could be a counselor, it could be a mentor, it could be a parent, or a peer. Why are you going to that situation? Well, it's because you don't know what's going on. You're looking for answers.
Right.
But if you didn't do your own prep and your own research on this said mountain or hike we're talking about, you would believe the first thing that popped onto WebMD or the first thing that popped in Wikipedia. Like the first person that came down the hill, you'd be like, "Oh crap, yeah, okay, well, better change my day, better change my hike, better change whatever, better go back and get better shoes, whatever the situation is." But because you didn't probably fully understand what you were getting into,
Mm.
and you didn't do some prep work and some homework. And so, when we think about change and we have non-starters or people that just immediately revert back to their old ways, it's because you didn't go into this with an open mind. You went into this thinking, well, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to change my behavior. And then if I don't get the result, I think I'm out. Like, well, it didn't work. Can't you see? It didn't work. I tried.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you go with that mindset, then any obstacle, we're talking about adaptation and adjustability, and I don't want to use evolve, but like being able to change on the fly in our Fight Club, right? It's coming up. And I think about this as like, you know who the winners are when they get into the boxing ring or the gameplay. It's the people who can adapt the best
Ooh.
and the fastest.
Yes. Yes.
And so, of course, life isn't a game, life isn't a boxing ring. But in this scenario where we're explaining you're gonna change, good, get some motivation. But if you don't have someone encourager like Paul, he's like, hey, push on. Like over and over, he's telling his mentees, uh, you're gonna face adversity. I did. Like, I was stranded on an island. I didn't give up. And he goes into stories and he's explaining, like, did you ever get stoned? Well, you might. I did. I didn't give up. And so knowing ahead of time does set the ease of, okay, maybe I have can develop some grit. Maybe I can develop some ability to push on a little bit and evaluate myself. And so these, it takes one to make one. Is like, I need someone with experience.
Yeah.
They don't even have to have won. Like,
Right.
you can gain experience from losing, maybe even better experience. But like, I need someone to have gone ahead of me, and so this, like, I'm interested. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what it is. I mean, we're talking exactly about it. I mean, somebody who's gone before, who's been there. What got me thinking was like coaches coaching at like higher levels who never actually played at those levels, yet still being able to have success and understand because they've been around people or with people who have done it, and then they take ownership of what they hear and what they say, and they sift through it and go, okay, so they can't base it off of their own experience, but I've been around countless people who have done this, and this is the way they went about their business. And I think that works just the same because they're able to listen and go, in one sense they've been there, so then they know how to make it. Then they act like they've been there, in not this arrogant type sense, but in a very humble type of way, because you're going to produce in others what you are rather than what you teach. Because there have been, well, whatever world you're looking at, there are plenty who are very good teachers, communicators, and yet you go spend some time with them, and it's just like, heard the words of countless guys, testimonies in the FCA Bible and other things. And then I went and met a few or saw and heard some stories of the few and go, yeah, everyone's struggling, going through stuff, but it's also like, yeah, I don't think that's the type of person or style or whatever that I want to do or be or be a part of. And so it's like, I was talking to my Uncle Dale. You know my Uncle Dale, right?
Dale.
Mm-hmm. So I was talking to him, and he's got some athletes in his youth group. And so he was telling me I should write a book, is what it was, because his question was, how did you journey through your life as a high-level athlete and still stay strong in your faith? And I thought, that's a really good question. Because I did, and still do. It doesn't mean there weren't mistakes, but along the way, it was strong faith throughout it, journeying. Now, could I have impacted lives better or whatever, said more, or take more people into discipling relationships? Absolutely. But as far as living it out, trying to encourage doing that, like that was a strong suit of what I was doing. And I was like, it's a great question, Uncle Dale. And so it made me think of like, man, maybe there is a spot to write a book of, can't remember how he put it, like developing, producing or whatever, and keeping your character, throughout the journey. Something tagline. It's way better than that, but it's something along those lines. And I thought, yes, like those are the things that you need. So then you can read on somebody who's done these, and you may not be exactly like them. So there's some things that could be adjusted, but hopefully learn a few things. Like is like any books that you read. Well, I read a lot of pitching books, but I said there's probably some mental books that I read, but ultimately, what helps me is Rare Leadership. That's one of my favorite books when it comes to staying within yourself, that mental maturity, that we're kind of talk about often, on this show. But other than that, I was like, I don't know. Like I had good people in my life, but then it got me thinking on my three things that I like to go through that my best friend's dad talked about. It is people you surround yourself with, the books that you read, and then the sacrifices that you're willing to make. And having those been kind of rolling around in my head throughout my childhood. I don't know when he said that when I was like 10 or 12. And since then, that's been, some of the motto for me. And I think, well, maybe I need to craft that into a book, because if it's like my guy, Frank Viola, he'll be like, man, I don't write a book unless I look and go, I didn't find the one that I wanted.
Mm.
And so I'm going to try and write one that satisfies that.
I didn't know you said that, because that's what I'm doing right now.
You are?
Well, I'm not writing a book, but I'm piecing a book, as you know, in our
Oh, yeah.
material.
Hey, same working. Yeah, man. I mean, that's
Yeah. Well, I think we'll ask the audience. Should Justin Masterson write a book on how he kept his faith through adversity and success? Absolutely, I think we should. So.
that's nice. No, I like that. That's good there. What did you play? I don't even know what's what.
You'll find out later.
Okay. I couldn't even hear what I said. I will find out.
Yeah, we don't have our headphones on anymore.
No, but I think I have the sounds
see.
on the board. If not,
I can push
whatever.
buttons and make certain sounds
Yeah,
happen.
it's all part of it. So there's a guy, maybe considered maybe a theologian of sorts, but his name was Watchman Nee.
Okay.
And so just a lot of
You
why.
watch his knee? I mean, come on.
He's Asian, dude. Come on.
Oh, okay. Not
He's
like me.
Asian.
Okay.
Yeah, any. But it says, anyone who serves God will discover sooner or later that the great hindrance to his work is not others, but himself.
Oh, 100%.
And I think if we're talking this, like that's ultimately probably what this hits on. Like in order to got to be one to make one is really getting at like you're the difference. Like we're looking outside ourselves, but stop looking there and looking there and looking there and going like, all right, hey, it's my time.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one aspect of sport that I like coaching. In the end, I try to coach that you're playing against yourself and the game, not your direct opponent. Of course, the opponent plays a massive part in your strategy and what you'll do and
Right.
whatever. But there's going to be many opponents. There's going to be many variations of the person across the table from you in chess, or the pitcher when you're the batter. Whatever the scenario is, a lot of times it does come down to a one-on-one, and that person will change often. But the thing that doesn't ever change is you. And so your skill set and your adaptability, again, or your ability to, what you're talking about with Uncle Dale, is like your ability to stay the course. Because in the end, like, okay, so the person struck me out, like, or the person made a good move. It's like, well, now what? In the game of life, we don't always get a reset button and get to just start over clean. Something we say to players is, if they're not a senior, is like, hey, There's always next year. There's always next game. There's always tomorrow, unless you're a senior. And then it's like, you might be done.
Might be it.
go cry like we all did, and on your mom's shoulder or your dad. But I do think that it's important because in this Watchmen, which is really great perspective of just saying, we need to focus on what you can control, and you can control yourself, and you can develop yourself.
Right.
It's good.
No, you can't. And we want to do so much of blaming outside factors. Like, how many countless times do you hear it? Well, you may not hear it as much, but it's like, oh, well, you do, because you got 4 kids. Why did you hit him?
Oh yeah.
Because he hit me. Oh, okay. Why did you go do that? Well, she looked at me wrong, and so I decided to do this. Oh, she changed the channel, so that means you had to hit her?
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, how? Where did those correlate? So we blame, so much of our actions or inaction on the surrounding pieces that we don't actually take the ownership of it. And that's kind of where I'm like, man, just take ownership. And as one of the key things that Frank said, and this was tracking with me a little bit, because these all have more tilts towards like kind of ministry-ish, but I think they still work for everyone in life. And it was like, the worker is more important than the work. The worker is more important than the work. And thinking on that, of how often like that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether that's in a business, which again, you got to get things done, but we will just sift through people like it's nothing. On a team, sift through people like it's nothing. I would talk about Boston, of where they would, bring you up, and if you didn't get the job done, well, they're going to bring up the next guy, but it wasn't personal. I feel like that was like a difference maker when it came down to it. Like, it wasn't personal. Get up there, you don't do it. Sorry. Like, hopefully you get better, and then you have another chance to get up here. But if not, we're sorry. We've given you every opportunity. But others, I think, in the world will be like, hey, come on up. You don't get it. He gone. Next. He gone. Next. He gone. And interesting to figure out where that line is, of how we can keep that worker as more important than the work at times. And we say it, keep the relationship bigger than the problem.
Yeah. That's
which I
another
think
way to
totally correlates, right?
Yeah, it's another way to think about it. And I think in general, bosses or owners or people that have management decisions of hiring and firing, they want that, but they quickly lose sight of what that really means. And I'm actually dealing with a friend right now that's in a managerial position, and he's struggling with this because he's like, I don't want to give up on her. I don't want to just bail because we don't get along or she doesn't see the way I see it.
Right.
But in the end, like, he does have to get the job done. And so he's going to give her chances, and he's going to work on her and try. And in return, he is actually learning and growing. If
Mm-hmm.
you have an open mind to it, and you're not just trying to teach for the sake of teaching. Oh, see, you didn't learn. I tried. Move on. And like you said, with the performance-based harsh realities of sports, hey, in the end, I need somebody that can get the job done. I was trying to bunt my freshman year. You weren't there yet, but it was our first series. Everybody's super excited, springtime. And I was not in the starting lineup. And to be fair, I couldn't hit at the time, so I didn't really care. But I was fast, and I was a good fielder. And so I was disappointed that I couldn't play, but I just couldn't play. And coach puts me into sack bunt, pinch hit, sack bunt, and for our catcher. And I was like, okay, like, this is my opportunity, right? Strike one, foul ball. Gives you the sign again. Strike two, missed it. I think I pulled back, and it was a called strike. So now it's 0-2. And in baseball world, you typically never bunt with 2 strikes unless you're trying to make it.
Because if you don't put in play, even if you foul it off, you're out.
Yeah. If you foul the ball in a bunt and 2 strikes, you're out. It's a weird rule, but it's It's good. That keeps people from just trying to bunt over and over and over. And it's first and second, one out. He gives me the bunt sign, and here we are, 0-2. And I just think like, really? He's giving me the bunt sign. And then you get nervous because at first you're just like, if I don't get it done, I'll get a chance to hit and swing or whatever. And he gives you the bunt sign, and based on the winter, you do not disobey coach. There's no way I'm going to go up there and not do what he says. And as a freshman too. And so I tried to put the bunt down, and I hit a foul ball, and I was out. And he stared at me like I had, performance mattered in that scenario. And I did not get a chance to play the next game. And he told me, he's like, at least you tried to bunt. Like, at least you tried.
Right.
So you didn't.
Yeah. You didn't
disobey.
just do, swing
Yeah.
when I told you to bunt.
But he's like, not going to cut it. Like, go get more reps. I don't care. I put you into bunt. I'm going to put you into bunt. And later in the series, he did give me another chance to bunt, and I did. So that was a big confidence boost. But I think we have that reality, and my buddy is going through that. Like, look, performance does matter in case.
Right.
But to see the person and the long-term projection of how to help this person grow in their work or in their mental capacity or their maturity, like, these things are much higher reward than, I'm sorry to say, the profit of the day or the fixing the problem, as you like to say,
Yeah.
keep the relationship bigger. But it is not easier.
No, because many times there's a mixture of it. You can't save everybody. It's not going to work. You may not have the time to do all those things, and that's natural. That's going to happen. But if you have the ability to do that or the opportunity to build into somebody, keep that relationship bigger than whatever the problem might be, well, then step into that. Because too often we don't even want to do that type of work. It's going to take some time. I really got to train them up. Well, is it really going to hurt you? Or in the end, countless times I talk about you train up these people, they show appreciation, and then work takes off. Like, it's way better than what it was even before. But I also want to take this, as you were talking, it made me think of it as like the worker is more important than the work. I think it's a reminder to all of us that we are all important. Like in God's kingdom for sure, but in life in general, it's like we are all important. So don't ever take for a moment that like you're not important, that someone doesn't care about you in some type of way. So slow it down, take a deep breath, and just know that you have value, when it comes down to it. So I want to make sure that comes out, because I'm like, thinking of working the business and they and so many different ways people can take it. I get that. But if we really think of it, the worker is more important than the work. I've seen it countless times where people just run over people to get their business, to get their, nonprofits, churches, it doesn't matter. The amount of people will railroad and go through in order to get what they need, and just burn you out, burn you out, burn you out, burn you out. Okay, next one up to get it, rather than truly caring about the worker who comes up. And if they really can't perform, well, then we might need to move them out of that position, or they might have to leave this position to go somewhere else. And so ultimately, I know you're looking. You trying to find something over there?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I didn't know if you were trying to.
Leave me alone over here.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's a value of importance, and I think that was really important. Why people might, going back to the grit part, why people might give up too soon is because they don't value themselves. They don't think that they can do it. Is sure a reality. Like, you're not equipped yet, you're not trained yet. Fine. But it's also because you don't see the value in accomplishing it, maybe because you don't feel like you have value to at all or to do it. So, we want to grade ourselves as a first world, high performing, high achieving society and culture. Like, we want to constantly evaluate, give feedback, and grade ourselves. And that is important and good, and it will help you in business and life and becoming a better person. But like coming from a guy who develops people into becoming better people, I'm telling you, you're a really bad judge of it. Like you as in yourself. I'm a bad judge of it for me. You're a bad judge of it for you, and so on. So I do want to encourage you to continue to evaluate. But like if you don't write it down and track it, you're just going off of the rabbit wheel or the whatever that's called in your head that day, and it's just a poor judgment. It's just a poor
Yeah.
quality. So write it down, evaluate it over time, or get a peer, get a mentor, because they're going to be able to be like, yeah, I can tell you're having a bad day, dude, but it's not that bad. Like,
Yeah.
you're still doing all right. Like, stay with it.
Well, that's where we brought up, last week we were talking about the learning circle.
Mm.
The idea of being able to observe, reflect, and then discuss it with somebody. I think that's really big part of that. In the learning circle, we call it the repent side, the changing of your mind, renewing of your mind in many ways. So if we button it up on this, we would say marketers, and I'm no expert on this, but as I read, marketers spend about 80% of what they're doing on their existing products. And then they go about 20% on like the new, which is interesting to think about, but true, because you want people to come do what you're good at. And then as you have some new things, you're going to sift some of that out there. Um, and so why wouldn't we, to be effective, spend 80% of our time working on our own transformation? And now when I think of that, it's how do we work on that emotional, spiritual, mental side of things? So then like the other bit is like, oh, I can become a better speaker, leader, uh, builder, administrator, those type of things. But like the majority of what you're doing, which I don't think that's the majority of what people are doing, is how can I grow in who I am? How can I grow in the greater maturity that we talk about? The ability to handle those big emotions that come our way and still act like ourselves, still be able to keep those relationships bigger than problems, be able to return to joy and endure whatever hardship comes well, like your boat being full of water and not just losing yourself or your life in the midst of it, but trying to figure it out, as time comes along. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest things, because ultimately we can only take someone as far as we've gone. I think in that like journey of what's it when you take someone under your wing, whatever. Why can't I think of that?
Mentorship,
Mentorship.
apprenticeship.
Yeah, apprenticeship. When you take somebody along that journey, like you watch in the movies, be like, you've learned everything that I know. Now you must figure it out. I've given you all that I have.
Yeah.
Now move on, because you're going to do greater things. Like, I think about, my son, who will probably be a way better, athlete, journey, maybe further. Maybe or maybe not, he goes to the major leagues or the NBA. But despite that fact, like he'll be better, and it'll be a point where it's like, hey, I've taken you as far as I can go. Now it's time to find those people who have been further along in the journey and see if you can go along to them.
The Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, I love that movie.
It's a wonderful film. I can't think of the main actor's name right now. When he's in
Jim Caviezel.
Jim Caviezel, yes, thank you. Edmond Dantes is in prison, and he's at his wit's end, but he finds the mentor in his life, and he does this with him, and he teaches him all that he knows. And then there's a point where they have to separate, and he has to go out on his own. And I mean, you took the quote right out of the movie, and he's like, "I've given you all I have. Now it's up to you. Like I'm sending you off, and you'll be better for it, and you'll do better than I did."
Yeah.
And I think that's just a beautiful way to tie up this concept that Frank's given us, and that we could hopefully encourage. I think just to remind you guys, we're just having conversations, and hopefully fill in the void with some good thoughts. But we want to entertain, and Justin provides some fun stories and things. But if we're encouraging one another, and this is a platform we can do that on, then that's what it's all about. And now your job is to take one and teach one, and your job now as an audience and a listener is to take a concept here and share it. But if you've listened to anything, go practice it yourself and then
Yeah.
put that into action.
Yeah. Take it onto yourself, allow it to sink in, be able to understand it, and then teach that to other people. Allow them to know. Learn one thing, teach one thing. It can be as simple as that. And find those who are doing it, man. Get your mentors. It's okay to search out people, whether you're with them all the time or you do it from afar, from a book. Like Frank Viola, I consider him a mentor, even though I've never met the dude or talked to the dude. But I read a bunch of his stuff that I feel like I know what he's saying. And I imagine that if I spent time with him, intriguing that he is who he is. It seemed that way. So hopefully when people are spending time with you, you grow them up better. And it's not just about the words that you say, but the life that you live. Which one to make one?